right. So I'm going to read the medical disclaimer. The information provided is for educational purposes. It's not intended as medical advice or substitute for medical advice of a physician or other qualified healthcare professionals. You should not use this information for diagnosing a health or fitness problem or disease. You should always consult with a doctor or other healthcare professionals or for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment. We don't claim to treat, diagnose, mitigate, or prevent or cure diseases. All right, so we're talking about seasonal affective disorder. And just so you guys know, we have to be extremely careful on root U. We had one of our root U's taken down. We have to really make sure that we're stating that we're not claiming to cure anything. One of the reasons we stay away from certain topics is because we are a company. We have to exist throughout the world. We work all over the world. We work with different governments. We work with different religions. We work with people of different economic status. We don't pass judgment. We are here to bring holistic, healthy advice to the world and to bring products that can really help people. And I think that's what's so important to understand. One of the things I love so much about the root community is we are a community. We have good and bad times. We have ups and downs. There's always a lot going on with all of us, but we definitely are in this together. However, we are monitored, on social media. We say certain things, they take us down. On our YouTube, on Spotify, they'll take us down. I will tell you guys, if you're not on Spotify, please get on there. We have really fast growth on our videos, and we will continue to do these root U's live when we can. And when we can't, we just will put up the Root University classes so you guys can watch them. They're out next year. But again, we have to make sure that we are not claiming to cure anything because we're a supplement company. And even pharmaceutical companies cannot claim they're curing something. They have certain products that help people, and we have natural products that help people. And I think that's what's important. If you look at the difference between nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals, and anyone that knows me knows that I believe in all of it. Like, I understand that in a crisis or an acute situation, people need pharmaceuticals. Dr. Fodwin, I believe that a lot of the same way about that, how important it is during an infection or a crisis that you have pharmaceuticals for acute situations. But day-to-day living, if you can do natural medical products like what we have, then it's really helpful to the human body. Because again, your goal is to clean out this body and make it work as beautiful as it can work. So talking about seasonal affective disorder, I think I suffer from this. I used to live in Seattle, and I couldn't live in Seattle because I could not handle the constant rain and the skies that did not have sun. It was really hard for me. I remember one time it was 40 days that there wasn't sun. And I remember thinking, I cannot feel this way, because I kind of felt I had lower energy. I was frustrated, upset. And I know as a psychologist, because that's what I was before I became a scientist, I started understanding a lot more about seasonal affective disorder when I lived in Seattle. It causes a type of depression, as it talks about on the slide, and the depression, it follows a seasonal pattern, but every person's different. And what I mean by that is some people have seasonal affective disorder and it's very, very strong. And then some people only have it a little bit. Like, I don't think I had seasonal affective disorder where I was depressed, but definitely in the winter, I'm craving the sun. And I'm craving better weather, and it does impact my body. This is not a diagnosis that's not true or fake. This is an accurate diagnosis, and as scientists and doctors, we recognize this now. So the other things that go along with this, just to let you guys know, are bipolar. So some people aren't bipolar unless it's impacted by really the weather. Major depressive disorder is the same thing. It gets worse with the seasons, and especially with people that experience mania. Mania, just so everyone knows, is when you have a lot of energy and you have extra energy. And a lot of people that have mania love it. Because to be honest, my clients I used to see as a psychologist that suffered from manic disorders, they enjoyed it because they didn't have to sleep. They had tons of energy. They could think really fast. They could get things done, and they did not want to get rid of it because they actually enjoyed it. That's one of the things you have to worry about. But the problem is most people that have mania also suffer from severe depression. And so you have to really regulate that. And of course, if you can do that naturally, it's fantastic. Some people do require medication, but there's a lot of people that can manage that by using different types of lighting, using different types of products, taking different things in their body that will impact them. So let's go on to the next slide and let's talk about that. I do want to tell you that there are some things, and we mentioned this a little bit on this slide. Let's go to the next slide. We mentioned this a little bit on this slide. We talked about that you can have depression in the summer, but that's really, really rare. It's usually the other way around. It's usually in the winter or when there's not a lot of sun outside. So what is the prevalence of it? It's about 0.5 to 3% of the general public. So it's not huge. I think the number is actually higher. With the milder, it says 10 to 20%. I think it might be even a little bit higher than that, but that's what we've been able to capture. And those are the statistics around it. Women are 2 times to 4 times more likely than men to develop this. There's different thoughts on that. It doesn't say this on the slide, but there's a hormonal component, we think, to SAD. We think that women that are lacking estrogen and even testosterone can suffer from this disorder. We also know there's a link with progesterone, and progesterone can be produced more in the sun. So there's some linkage to that as well, like I said. The impact on quality of life can be severe, to be honest. It can really impact your career. It can impact you personally. You can withdraw from certain things. We all know what it's like to feel like this. Like I can tell you, when it's cold outside, I want to be inside. When it gets dark at 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee, I think, why is it black outside? Should I be going home? So there's different ways that you can combat this from a psychological viewpoint and from a nutraceutical viewpoint. We're going to talk about that. Let's go to the next slide. So one of the things that's a risk that we already talked about was the fact that the sunlight, there's not enough sunlight and people need more. It decreases serotonin. What do we have that we work with that increases it? Well, we have 0N, right? And 0N is definitely something that I will up the dose of 0N if it has been especially dark or especially like clouds the whole time. I will take more 0N because I acknowledge the fact that your serotonin levels are going down and you're not able to really regulate your mood. And one of the things we all know about 0N is it's an adaptogenic nootropic. So it's basically helping you really give your body what you want and what it needs, right? There is a family history of this mood disorder and different people are susceptible. And again, it does have to do with the weather. Let's go on to the next slide. So I talked about this earlier, fatigue. I did talk about increased sleep. Weight gain and cravings are very strong with people that have this disorder. They usually gain weight in the winter. So of course, we're going to talk about this later, but Sculpt and Crush are 2 products I recommend from people that really suffer from this disorder. Another thing that happens is insomnia because a lot of people that have this can fall asleep but they can't stay asleep or they can't even get to sleep because their moods are so erratic that they can't control it. And some people can even lose weight because of that. However, most of the patients I treated when I was a psychologist that had this disorder gained weight and didn't lose weight, but there are some people that can lose weight. Let's go to the next slide. So the diagnosis. So when, as a psychologist or a doctor, when you give a diagnosis, you basically look at different symptoms that people have. And I've said this before, doctors get diagnosis, they give diagnosis based on what they see and what they've learned. So it's not like you could go to 5 doctors and they all may give you different diagnosis, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand that I try to explain because I want our audience to know that doctors have different opinions too. And so we just have to make sure that you have an accurate diagnosis. From my perspective, this disorder is something that you can treat a lot naturally. Like there's a lot of natural things you can do, but I never want to minimize the fact that there are some people that have it so severe that it's not easy to do, if that makes sense. Patrick, I keep getting this saying that I'm not on the right language. Are you guys hearing me okay? Because it keeps coming up on my screen.
It's people in the community that are selecting to get
Okay.
captions. Just hit cancel.
Okay.
You're
All right.
fine. I
I
can
could
hear
see
you
none stuff
perfect.
on it. So it's like, wait a minute. Um, so how do you differentiate this disorder from other depressive disorders? So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. As a psychologist, you can have this disorder and still have other depressive disorders. You can have this disorder and still have bipolar. You can have this disorder and still have schizophrenia, or you can have this disorder and nothing else, which is your best situation. Like if you are impacted by the weather and you know that's what you're impacted by, then you just want to take the steps to really give your body the extra support it needs during that time. So hopefully you don't have the chronic stress that goes along with it, because some people do. Hopefully you don't have other things that are really aiding in that, and you're taking away the negative in your life and you're just worried about the weather. Because if you're worried about the weather, again, I feel like Root has products that can really impact your body at helping in that. And one of the things that we aren't talking about on this slide deck is people that have issues with heavy metals in their life and have been impacted by heavy metals that are in their bodies have a higher rate of depression, higher rate of schizophrenia, higher rate of seasonal affective disorder and bipolar and everything else. So that's why it's so important to really clean out your body again and give your body the nutrients it needs. Let's go to the next slide. So management. So just so you know, when I lived in Seattle, I used light therapy. It really helped me. I needed natural sunlight, so I would use exposure to that in the morning. And I even had a natural light in my house. You can buy those online. There's different places you can find them, or you can just make sure that you find light somewhere and expose yourself to it. However, that was too hard for me because when I wasn't able to see the sun for 40 days, that's when I understood that I really needed to buy different types of lighting that I could send under that would really help reduce the symptoms of a mood disorder. And it worked for me really, really well. There's also psychotherapy, and that means focusing on why you feel that way. I feel like that works a little bit. It's a strategy, but I don't think it gets rid completely of the fact that you have this disorder, because you're losing serotonin, you're losing norepinephrine, you're losing dopamine. So again, you're trying to concentrate on things so that you can get that back in your life, and hopefully you can do that naturally. SSRIs are used, so Prozac's used for this disorder, Paxil, Cymbalta is used for this disorder, Zoloft is used for this disorder, but the issue is, unless it's severe, some of that medication has long-term side effects, such as a lot of people that are on SSRIs don't want to have sex. A lot of people that are on SSRIs actually end up suffering worse from depression. A lot of people that are on SSRIs gain a lot of weight, right? A lot of people have reactions in their bodies because they can't handle that medication. Some people can, and I say this all the time. If you really have a problem, then you need to be on medication. If you can prevent that and do natural things to support your body, that's your first hope. But if you can't, then you have to lean on other things. Lifestyle changes. This is something else I think really works. You need to work out during the winter. A lot of people stop working out. That's the time you really, really need to focus on working out, because that can really balance your mood and can help with the fatigue. I know it sounds counterintuitive, because some of you are probably thinking that's going to make you tired to work out, but that's not true. It releases natural endorphins, so your body does really well. Let's go to the next slide. And then also, I do want to let you guys know your diet is very, very important. I'm super excited next year that we're going to be producing seeds for nutrition that we'll be able to sell to the Root community, because you have to have different nutrients that come from what you're eating, along with supplements that really impact the body. And that's one of our focuses that we're going to have as a company next year. So what are other prevention strategies? We talked about the light therapy. We talked about a structured routine or a workout routine. And we also talked about basically trying to make sure that you talk about it and deal with it through a therapist or through friends and family so that you're at least recognizing it. You don't want to be depressed, everyone on this call. You really don't, and not tell someone. I say this constantly. When someone needs your help because they're depressed or they're hurting, please be there for people. This is the time of year when everyone thinks everyone's happy, but it actually is the time of year when there's more depression, and not just because of seasonal affective disorder, but because it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, and people don't have perfect lives. A lot of people have lost people they loved during this time period, or they're divorced, or they're lonely. So I would encourage the Root community to really be there for people and to recognize that some people aren't happy during this time of year, and there's different things that we can do about it to make other people's lives healthier and happier, and our lives. Let's go to the next slide. We're going to talk about root products and mental health, and this is actually an area where I feel like we have supported a lot of people naturally to really gaining back a greater life. And Clay says it all the time, we're trying to focus on greatness. And that's something that I think is extremely important with everyone's life. So Clean Slate has this silica, as we know, and basically through a cleaning out process of a zeolite, I was able to take out a silica so they could really support overall health of the body. Adding vitamin C and trace minerals was very important because of the neurotransmitters, and also being able to really help with oxidative stress. So we could try to get down inflammation while you're cleaning people's bodies out. And that's extremely important to people because mental health is part of your physical health. So to be physically healthy, you have to have positive mental health. And people don't realize this, but Clean Slate and Clean Spirits are really helping the body get rid of those extra toxins that are holding on through years of what you've been exposed to. Next slide. Restore is an energy maker. That's how I'd like to say it. The name Restore comes from because when you clean something out, you've got to restore it. And what's the best way to restore it? But black cumin seed, turmeric, apple cider vinegar, aloe vera, resveratrol. There's lots of great ingredients in here that really can support overall mental health and brain health, which is so important. And then I want to say this, your gut microbiome also impacts your heart and your brain. And we've talked about this a lot. And apple cider vinegar, aloe vera, turmeric, curcumin, black cumin seed all help with the microbiome throughout the body. Let's go to the next slide. Zero in, I mentioned this. You've got to have D3. I didn't talk about that enough in the beginning of the slide deck. You need vitamin C, you need vitamin D3, you need zinc to really support your body during this time of year in more ways than one. The L-tyrosine is extremely important because it supports cognitive functioning, and it can reduce the images and the impact of stress. And what I mean by that is if you have L-tyrosine in the body, there's lots of studies that have shown it really can help regulate mood and support the body in a positive way through the brain, through the stomach and the gut, and through the heart, and through that whole connection. L-theanine is also very important and impressive because L-theanine has been used in countries throughout the world to reduce stress and anxiety, and it can be very helpful in depressive symptoms and cases like SAD. So it's really important that you focus on the ingredients that can really assist the body during this time of the season. And that is one of the ingredients that really helps, along with the vitamin D3 and L-tyrosine. And then the caffeine is another stimulant that really helps with that. And I don't have the pine bark and the velvet bean and the other ingredients on here, but those are also very instrumental to supporting serotonin and dopamine and norepinephrine because they're adaptogenics and nootropics, which they are really helping the body adjust so that everybody's body is handling their life in the best way possible. Next slide. ReLive Greens. So ReLive Greens have the benefit of broccoli, kale, spinach, green cabbage, parsley, chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass, barley grass, husk powder, apple fiber, flaxseed, and a lot of other things. It really, really combines these things into the body to help, along with a pre and probiotic, because the microbiome has been talked about repetitively when it comes to mental health. If your microbiome is not clean and if it's disruptive, then it causes your brain and your heart to be disruptive. And there's a huge connection. And in the Human Genome Project, we're studying this and really trying to wrap our arms around it so that we can help people throughout the world. And hopefully Root will have a place at the table. I'm working right now on the microbiome project, and the side of it, Ted and Patrick and Clayton have all been a part of this as well. We're really trying to take this to the next level. Even in our manufacturing process, we're focusing on microbiome of products, and we'll talk a little bit about that on a later call. But even your products, so remember how I talk about DNA and how we're connected to a leaf on a tree? Even a leaf has a microbiome. So it's just called something different, but it's the same thing because we're all connected. So we are working in our manufacturing process to continuously clean our products so that we have the only products out there that have been patented in a process to really clean things out and support them. It's important to us, not so that we can say we're the only company out there doing this, but to say, we're trying our best to help humanity by even starting with seeds and plants and leaves to clean things out and really support the overall body. So natural barrier support is a very, very important thing to take during this time of year. And I know I said this on a previous call, but your body is craving D3. Your body's craving vitamin C and zinc, not just when you get a cold or a virus, but during this time of year. All of those are very important in supporting your neurotransmitter functioning so that you are able to think and you can hopefully reduce depressive symptoms. Let's go to the next slide. Immune defense shield, I think, is extremely important. We're not talking about NAD on this deck, but I'm going to talk about it personally. So NAD is impacting telomeres and mitochondria. 1 second. Sorry, everyone. I apologize. It's one of my kids. Okay. All right. Immune defense shield for the NAD is extremely important. I'm not sure why we have it listed on this slide, but I want to talk to you guys about it. Your NAD is impacting the mitochondria and the telomeres, which impacts aging, but also has a direct impact on mental health. So your issue is if you don't have enough NAD in the body, if your mitochondria is not supported, if your telomeres aren't working the right way, if they're shortening, if they're not really connecting, then your body cannot respond, whether it's physically or mentally or emotionally, to things. So one of the most important things about this particular product is the NAD and the quercetin that are added, but vitamin D3, C, and magnesium are also very, very important. And so we have to make sure that we're supporting the entire body while we're impacting everything. So your lives are so important. If you don't focus on what you're doing to impact others, if you don't take care of your body, then it really has a domino effect. And I wanted to say this to you guys. It's not just your life. It's how your life is impacting every human being in the world. And I think we forget that. One of the reasons that our mission at Root has never changed, and why we meet with people of different religions, why we meet with different people that have different political views, why we meet with different people with economic views, is because our mission is focused on each person becoming the best they can be in a light-filled, positive way. We don't want the negative. We don't want the darkness. We want the light. We want the positive energy and the positive health of our bodies to really be an example to everyone. And anyone that wants to live in the negative or the darkness, they can join us, but we have to keep this positive thinking and positive process. And that even means about our own bodies. So when our bodies betray us, and what I mean by that is when your body gets depressed, when your body gets sad, when your body gets sick, all that is saying is your body's telling you, focus on me, make me more important, and help me get well. And that has to be something that you guys focus on at this time of year and every part of the year. But remember, again, during this part of the year, depression does go up. People with emotional mental issues go up, suicide goes up, homicide goes up. So you really want to focus not just on physical, but again, incorporating the mental health by supporting your body and giving it what it really needs during this time of year. You could have a perfect life, have all the money you need, be in love, have an amazing family, amazing friends, and still be depressed and not understand it. And it's because your body needs more nutrients. Your body is saying inside, help me, give me positive nutrients and ingredients to really support my body. And that's what's so significant about this community and how we impact other people. Let's go to the next slide. Give me back my youth. With the collagen and colostrum is so very important. The gut is your second brain. I know I say this a lot, but it is. People don't realize that. They think of the brain here, but the brain is here and here too, right? It's all connected. And so you've got to remember that. And you really do need collagen and colostrum in your gut, and you need it throughout your body. And it doesn't work to put it on the skin. We've talked about that. You have to have the peptides, which is, I want to say this, which is why even internally in your body, collagen and colostrum, you adding on crush is so very important so that the peptides can really help the collagen and colostrum even work better. You get better results for your skin, better results for your hair, better results for your nail, for your bones, and for your joints if you use both of those products together. Let's go to the next slide. Sculpt. So everybody talks about Sculpt as weight loss. And, you know, when we launched it, we said that, but then I continuously have said, it's not just a weight loss product, it's for health. And I think what's so important is it has valerian root, which really helps manage stress and anxiety. And it can really help with the triggers associated with depression, which is very important because you really want to remain calm and stable. And valerian root is one of the roots that really helps the body do that. Astrologenis membranatus, I never say it right. Patrick probably knows I'm not going to be able to say it. It has anti-inflammatory and immune boosting properties. So it's actually an ingredient that I really like in products. And I'm so thankful that I used it in this particular product. Yes, it can help you lose weight, but it also potentially supports overall mental health. Let's go to the next slide. Clean spirits. I love clean spirits because the goal was to really clean out the body and get into the organs. The patents were approved to metabolize faster alcohol in the liver and in the organs in the body, and to be used even in a crisis where people had too much to drink, even with certain narcotics. The patents were approved for that. Your overall focus of this product is not just alcohol, but cleaning the body out in a successful way to support brain health and really help with the glutamate levels in the body and glutathione levels of the body, because that's so very, very important. And to really support the immune function and the depressive symptoms of the overall body. Because the issue is a lot of people drink because they're depressed. Some people drink because they want to drink and they want to have fun, but it has negative effects. So this product is being utilized for that, but more importantly, for people to really get rid of things that are locked in their body that they need to get rid of because it doesn't make them healthy or happy. And a lot of those things are held on to in the body. I always say this, our body is imprinted upon. And what that means is when something happens to you in your life, it doesn't just go away. You could have 10 kids. You could have, like I said, tons of money. You could look beautiful or handsome and have everything you want, but your body can hold on to these triggers. So it's really important to get rid of all of that. Let's go to the next slide. Guys, Xoted support powder is something that we aren't using enough of. It has the complete vitamin B complex. All of you guys asked me about the vitamin Bs. That is in your Xoted support powder. And it really is something that I feel like we've underplayed. This particular formula was part of the alcohol metabolism patent. I wrote it in as well. Using magnesium and calcium was very important, but adding the vitamin B complex to the other ingredients, I think really activated this. Your body needs vitamin B. I definitely need vitamin B. It's one of the things like vitamin D that my body's low in. So I have to take extra products as it pertains to those two those two vitamins, because it's very, very important to your body to be healthy. You've got to have vitamin D, you've got to have vitamin B. Obviously, you need vitamin C and E and K and everything else. But I think what's so significant about this is giving the body the vitamin B complex as well as the other ingredients it really needs to really complete the cycle of what makes you healthy. Go on to the next slide. These are some of the references that I would love for you guys to look at, but I just want to talk a little bit more. I am going to have to get off early because I have to deal with some professional and personal things. We're really busy this year trying to incorporate manufacturing. In fact, Patrick came in to get me out of a meeting. And the only reason he wasn't in the meeting is because Patrick and I are trying to focus on IS&S, and I was trying to get some marketing stuff done for a website for our manufacturing. But I want to be able to tell the root community why this is such a focus for us. Using different manufacturers all over the world has been a pleasure. It really has. We've sourced ingredients from everywhere. We use some of the best manufacturers and we control the processes. Now we have a lot of patents and we're getting more and more patents approved. And for us to really help the world globally, we need to control from start to finish every part of the manufacturing process in order for the root community to really have the best products. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of heavy lifting. So our focus is on that so that we can support this community and so that we can really help with humanity and with having better, healthier lives. Our products are made for a lifetime of use. You may use 0M, for example, more during this time of year and less during the summer. You may use 0M more when you travel internationally like me and less when you're in your own country. There's different ways to use these products. When you go get a pharmaceutical product from a doctor, they tell you how many pills to take. However, everybody's body's different. So that dosing doesn't work for everyone. Supplements are the same way. So on the bottle, when we give dosing instructions, you can alter those. Some people can take more, and I've said this before, Sculpt and Crush, ReLive Greens, Give Me Back My Youth. I take more of those than's on the label, right? Immune Defense Shield. Patrick probably does sometimes too. I know Ted and Clay do sometimes. You have to use what is helping your body, and sometimes the dosing on the bottle isn't enough. But we have to follow government guidelines on vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc. Do I always agree with those? No. However, we still have to follow them. But your body is yours. You own your body. Everything about your body is in your control. So just remember that. You may need to take more of the product. Sometimes you may need to take less. Some people only take 1 drop of Clean Slate. I drink half the bottle sometimes. So we're all different, right? And celebrate that. Be thankful you're different. Be thankful we're not all the same. And then remember to have an amazing time of the year, but also remember there are people around you that are depressed or sad or anxious. And just know that they deserve your attention and love too. This is a hard time of the year for people that have lost people they love. And you have to care about them enough to recognize that. So many times I'll wake up in the morning and I typically wake up very happy. During this time of year, something I don't talk about a lot is I wake up worried about people and I pray a lot because I know it's hard for people to be alone. It's hard to be in the cold or hard to be without the sun and have to deal with things. It's hard when you don't get enough sleep. It's hard when you don't have enough money for Christmas presents, right? It's hard when you don't have the ability to travel to meet the people you love. So remember that. Remember everyone's different and then support each other because that's why we're here. We're here to feel how other people feel. We're here to love people when they don't feel lovable. And we're here to give them good products that can help their bodies. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day. I'm going to let you end it. Patrick, I've got to take care of a few things. I apologize for that.
Don't apologize.
Thank you, everyone.
I just wanted to make sure everyone didn't have any questions. Also, just to keep everyone in the loop, as we're coming up on the holidays, there is going to be an altered schedule. We typically go on break right before Christmas and don't reconvene until after the new year. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was planning for that as we are really working towards 2025 and planning out the rest of our year. Product launches, events. As you can see kind of behind me, we are starting to put together all the events that we're going to be doing. Also, only 1 week out of the month for international travel. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that from a housekeeping perspective. Also wanted to share the team here at HQ. I know we talked about it on the ambassador call. Really just how grateful we are for last week. I know a lot of you worked really, really, really hard on promoting our discounts, sharing all of our sales. The amount of people that we were able to touch and help and offer solutions at a discount and at a rate that might have been more affordable, that isn't attainable through the rest of the year when our products are normally priced, I think goes a huge way. So I wanted to say thank you from all of us here at HQ. We really shared those sentiments yesterday on the ambassador call. So we are here. Please reach out if you need anything. I'm going to go ahead and close the call. Make sure, in case anyone does have any questions, please raise your hand now. If not, have a blessed rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned. We got some fun things planned for December. No questions? Great. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy your time. Bye-bye. By the way, Tina, I wish I was where you are. I don't know where you are, Tina, but it looks absolutely gorgeous and sunny. And we're freezing here in Nashville. So have a good day, guys.